I am Brandon Clark. This is my co-host Swall Hall, and today we're meeting on Uncommon Grounds. We have quite the episode for you with another new segment at the end. We've been getting in the swing of new things here, so I'm excited to reveal that to you. But first, we got to get through our usual three topics. We're going to start with RFK Jr. and his actions with vaccines, specifically with mRNA and the funding and some projects that he's recently pulled back. And then we're going to go into the Supreme Court same-sex marriage debate. It's kind of back in the mainstream. If the name Kim Davis rings any bells to you, you'll understand kind of what we're talking about, which we'll get more into. And then we're going to end on trade talks, specifically with India, with the tariffs and things like that, and kind of how things are unfolding, probably not how Trump expected and not how most Americans, I would assume, want. And then the new segment, just to preview kind of for you guys, it's going to be a presidential debate. I'm not sure what we're going to call it yet, but we're debating presidents. We chose in the 21st century specifically, so Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, who we thought was the best president. I chose Biden, Swall chose Obama. We're going to debate that. So stick around to the end. That's sure to be good. To start with mRNA, RFK Jr., obviously, it's no surprise, doesn't seem to be the biggest supporter of vaccines. People were worried he would do a lot of these things when he kind of took office. And he's now, this is following some other actions, has targeted specifically mRNA vaccines, pulling $500 million, over $500 million in funding to them, canceled over 20 projects. He also, there's a vaccine recommendation panel he pulled apart. So there's a whole lot of this we could get into. Swall, I am kind of curious what your thoughts are on this. I know we've talked about vaccines before, but I guess specifically with mRNA, with it being a new technology and all that, where do you fall with this stuff?
Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty aligned on this one. I think this is unhinged. I think this is stupid. I think this is ridiculous behavior from RFK. Obviously, I think as a conservative, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, life being a pretty important one to get the other two. And so anything that has to do with saving lives, medical stuff, I'm all supportive. Another thing that we align with is I believe in free healthcare. Granted, I believe in just unelective healthcare. So if it's like, oh, I want to get a boob job, I don't support that. But like, if you gotta, if you're sick, we should take care of you. So no, I think this is dumb. I think it's insane that they slashed this much funding for life saving research.
Do you at what point for you does it get to like maybe there should be talks about why this guy is still the
Oh,
HH?
I never liked RFK. I never wanted him in. I mean, there was a touch of me that was hopeful when he was talking about like getting the stuff out of McDonald's food, like carcinogens and getting rid of all like the dyes. And I was like, okay, like I support that.
Yeah.
But his whole vaccine thing has always been nut job stuff to me. So I'm already past that point where
Do
we should
you,
be discussing removing this dude.
yeah, that would, and I do you think there's any chance Trump does? I don't think so because I don't think it's unpopular enough with his base. And I also think just ego, he won't
That's
want
what
to.
I was about to say is he's not going to admit to an L ever unless he's like legally forced to.
Mm.
So, and even then, he's
Yeah.
probably still not going to admit to it.
He's just
So,
gonna say, oh well, they're lying, it's fake news. Yeah.
it's fake laws, fake laws. They made up these laws just to get me. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, no, I think I mean, like with everything that we've discussed on the show here, if there's legitimate concern, there's not. But if there was legitimate concern, of course, like yeah, slash it. But since there's not, this is insane to me, and I think that we should be. I don't know what power we have as people to fight against this, really, but we should at least be talking about it, talking about how stupid this is.
So another part of that is, and this actually happened just prior to the pulling of the money, is RFK Jr. Pulled the FDA recommendation for the vaccine, for the mRNA vaccine, which what this does essentially is insurances won't cover it now. So for poorer families who couldn't pay
Right.
out of pocket for it, it leaves them with less access. I'm curious, as the conservative, and I
Yeah.
know, I mean, I'm assuming so because we agree on universal healthcare, but still to get the conservative opinion, is that still something you support too? Like, hey, we probably should be funding people to get vaccines if they want them, or are you more in the camp of, well, if you want it, then pay for it?
No, yeah, I'm totally with vaccines should, especially like if you're going to like my kid's just about to start daycare and stuff. These are mandated you have to get vaccines to have your kid like in public.
Yeah.
And so anything that's mandated, I always think the people mandating it should be the ones to pony up the cash
Mhm.
for such a thing. So Yeah, no, this is not a topic we're going to have too much
Yeah.
debate on because, yeah, I mean, science is science and conspiracies are conspiracies, and those things need to be separated as much as possible.
I completely agree. It's the sad part of politics touching more parts of society. Yeah, and I guess before we move on, I do just want to say for maybe those who aren't as aware, mRNA isn't just for COVID either. Like they're
Right, right.
using it for like they're trying to work on like cancer treatments with it, influenza, things like that. It's
Yeah, I
just
saw HIV too,
yeah,
which is
HIV also
huge.
a lot of, and it's a really good technology. What they do is we all have RNA in our systems and they take a
Hmm.
synthetic form of that rather than using like the actual virus
Yep.
itself. So not only can you do it quicker and it's like more adaptable for like if the virus mutates, but it's safer for immunocompromised people. Like there's a lot of vaccines that aren't safe for people who have like lowered
Hmm.
immune systems, and mRNA solves that like that. So like it's really insane for a multitude of reasons that for seemingly because it's attached to the COVID vaccine seems to be
Hmm.
why RFK Jr. has a problem with it, that we're doing away with what was just considered like an amazing medical breakthrough like 2 decades ago.
Yeah, and this always seems to happen, particularly unfortunately on my side of the aisle, where any new technology is just
Yeah.
no. I mean, and maybe this is on both sides. I don't know who's really against like nuclear stuff, but like trying to do research, like, hey, maybe we should do like nuclear power instead of like I don't know fossil fuels. No, nobody wants to touch it. Granted, that one's because of the whole meltdown thing, but anything new is always freaks people out. And it's like, just because it's new doesn't mean it doesn't work. That just means it's new.
Yeah,
Once
exactly.
upon a
And
time, all technology was new.
everything was new. Yes. And it's just about like, I don't know. It's because most people, they just go with consensus rather than actually just validating things themselves. So they're like, well, I got to wait and see if everybody does it, then I'll.
Oh, and that, yeah, that drives me crazy too. Is like, well, they don't even know what this is, and I've done my own research. And but what research did you do?
Yeah.
What research did you do? You Googled and then you saw RFK talking
Yeah.
about it. That's not research.
Yeah. No, I
Tell me
agree.
what lab you went to.
Literally, and that's this, and you already know this is a tangent I could go on for hours.
Yeah,
Like it's people who just do blind skepticism, and their research is literally they see that there is research, and they're like, all of this is fake. And then let
right.
me go to like an 80-year-old who blasts steroids and has a worm eating his brain
Yep.
and no experience with any of this, no qualifications to talk about any of this. And let me just listen to everything he says and take it as fact. And it's like, maybe you're the brainwashed one.
And people fail to understand like I've told people when I've been in conversation with them talking about all these conspiracies of do you understand how many people would have to work together? That right there is a conspiracy in and of itself. How did you get people to like come together and like trick
Exactly.
everybody? Like that's not real life. Like nobody's doing that. Like you know how many different organizations,
Yes.
different doctors, scientists,
Somebody would have came out and
pharmaceutical
said something.
companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like all it takes is somebody not, if they're sending them money to like whatever, all it takes is the Cash App not going through and that guy's going public. So
Yeah,
like,
and you got to think. I mean, there would be blackmail. People would be like, "Well, I want
yeah,
double. Like you're paying me
right.
triple this month." Or like,
Right, there'd
I'm
be
telling
dead
you.
bodies, people
Yeah,
be disappearing. Like clearly, this is
exactly.
not happening
And
at
the
any scale.
exactly. And so I had on I forget what her name was, but Dorit Reese on my channel to interview about she does like vaccine research and stuff.
Yeah,
She made actually a really good point. She was like these people also think that the government is totally inept and like can't do anything correct and we can't
right.
like trust them to like run any program, so we have to like defund the government. But then they're also like smart enough to do like multi-decade long conspiracies that never get out and
Yep.
leave no
Which is
trace.
it?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like you got to pick
Exactly.
one. And it's the last thing I'll say is like a lot of people do that with Biden as well. He both like is like this evil mastermind who was targeting Trump behind the scenes, but he also is like a dementia-ridden guy
Right.
who poops his
Right.
pants on stage. And it's like, which one? This is a conspiracy theorist. They always that's what
See,
gets
and
is there's no
and this is where the right winger in me comes out. I felt like we had a similar thing in 2016 through 2020 with Trump, where people would be like, "He's an idiot," blah 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 blah, and then in the next breath, oh, he's trying to undo democracy. He's got blah 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 blah. It's like, is he now? I can buy that he's an idiot and therefore he's accidentally, but it's like, is he an idiot or is he
yeah.
doing this on purpose? Which
Yeah,
is it?
I agree with you there. I will say I actually probably do that a lot just because I do think he's an idiot and I do also think he's attacking democracy. I just think it's like in different ways. I think that one of the reasons that he hasn't succeeded in a lot of the things that he tries to do
Right. It's
is
because
because
he's an
he's really
idiot.
stupid. And we were talking about Destiny before we hopped
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
I actually saw something he said about the infamous Nazi that we all know. I don't know if we can
Yes.
say his name, so I won't. And he was like, somebody was like, "Do you think Trump is as bad as him?" And he was like, "Oh no, he's way dumber than him. Like if he was as smart as he was, we would all be fucked." And it's like,
Yeah.
I low agree. Like we'd be a lot worse off if Trump was intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah, so shooting over to same-sex marriage. This is one I actually don't know if we will agree or disagree here, Swall. I don't know. So we'll talk about it. Kim Davis is a county clerk. She's kind of at the center of this conversation. She first went viral a few years ago, maybe longer, for refusing to marry. She refused to marry same-sex couples. There was like one specific, it kind of went viral, and then she went on this whole media tour thing where, I shouldn't have to do this and all of that. She's back trying to get the Supreme Court to take up the case. It's Obergefell v. Hodges, I think, which is
Mhm.
pretty much what legalized same-sex marriage. She wants the Supreme Court to take it up. The likelihood the Supreme Court takes it up is probably low. But what I will say is like Clarence Thomas is a public and open yes, I would overturn that. Like he's came out and said it. Alito is a probable yes. Just given his voting record, he would probably vote yes. And then given that it's the Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade, I think not only is it something people should be scared of, but I also think it's telling of where we're at in America that same-sex people are having to even hear this be a conversation. Like me as a black person, for instance, right? Like I don't have to worry about, even though racism is still a thing, I know I'm past the point where like people aren't going to talk about if I should be allowed to work. They're not going to talk about if I should be allowed to do this because of my skin color. And I think it's telling about where we're at in America that because of their sexuality, they are having to hear these conversations. But I am curious, Swa, kind of where you are at it as the residential conservative.
Yeah, we're gonna disagree on this one. Yeah, so obviously, as everybody knows, I'm a Catholic, so I think that marriage is a covenant between man and woman. And so I think returning the decision to the states will err in my favor, we'll say. At least I hope it will. But I did want to touch on the Respect for Marriage Act. So even if it is overturned, anybody who's married is still married. It's not like you just poof, suddenly you're not married anymore. It would just be like moving forward, whether or not the state allows it. But I take the Pope Francis stance, which is just that we need to do a lot more to make civil unions attractive to same sex couples. And that's what I would push for. So, yeah, we're going to disagree here. I don't believe in same sex marriage. I don't think it's even possible, just definitionally. But so that would be my stance on this.
Sure, yeah, I would really disagree. The first thing I would say is that we shouldn't appeal to the Catholic Church for any type of social policy, or women wouldn't be in any leadership roles because they can't even lead the church. But as to marriage, I think the idea that it's like religious in any way has not been true for so long. It is like by and far a social construct now. We build rights and laws and the way our society is structured around marriage. Thus, it is outside of religion. It is a structure of society. There's people who get like different tax incentives and things like that to marry. So the idea that because of your sexuality, you're not privy to those is to say that if you are the sexuality we want you to, you're going to have rights that this group of people can't have. And when you're in a society and one group of people have rights that the other group of people don't have, that's called apartheid.
Yeah, and I would say it's like you're 13 years old, you don't have the right to drive a car because definitionally you just aren't able to have that right because you're not an adult yet. It's similar. It's just definitionally you can't get married. It's not
Yeah,
a
no, that's not true. The reason that we don't let children drive cars is because we've determined as a society that it enables more freedom for people to be on the roads and on the streets safely if we don't have children driving cars. Could you make
yes.
that logical connection for
What I'm
cause to
perhaps I
society with
stated it
same-sex
incorrectly.
marriage?
What I'm trying to say is essentially definitionally that 13-year-old simply isn't an adult. So it's impossible for them to get the license because they're not an adult. It's not because we're trying to.
That just misses the forest for the trees. It's not if kids could safely drive, if we had determined that you would have the same freedom to safely travel if kids were driving, then kids could drive. It's not, well, you're a kid, so you can't do the same things as adults. It's a lot goes into it. With other contracts with kids, it's more about coercion. If you're talking about like property ownership and things, it's just that like kids are more easily coerced. So it's not just
Yeah.
you're a kid, so this, where what you're saying is you're gay, so this. There's no outside thing. It's literally you're gay, so you can't do this.
Yeah, it's just like I'm a guy, so I can't be a girl. I just can't. I'm not. I'm just not a girl.
That's not at
just
all.
Definitionally.
This is we're talking about rights, right?
This is a blue moon. It's just not a Miller Lite. It's just not. It's not like I'm discriminating against it being a Miller Lite. It's just definitionally not. And so that's what I'm saying is it's just definitionally marriage is a covenant between man and woman.
No, it's not. And
therefore,
wait. Are definitions prescriptive or descriptive?
Descriptive.
Okay, so then what you're saying doesn't matter. It's not definitionally anything.
I mean, that's the definition. Marriage is a covenant between man and a woman.
No, that's how you're using it. That's you, right? That's not
in this instance. Sure.
Yes. That's your subjective definition that most of society doesn't agree with, that most of society has moved past, that we structured society around it moving past. Like, it's not a religious covenant. Not only religious people get married.
I didn't say religious covenant. I just said a covenant. But continue.
Okay, you didn't say that it.
Not religious covenant. It's just a covenant.
Okay, so then what do you mean by that?
A covenant is a solemn agreement between individuals. So
right, but then
it's
you
just
brought in your religion.
It's like a promise,
right?
Essentially,
you brought in your religion to say that, or am I mistaken? You said that Catholics don't. You think a man and a woman because you're a Catholic.
Yeah, I was saying I am a Catholic, and my view is
the definition of marriage doesn't have anything to do with man and woman outside of a religious context, is what I'm trying to say. Only the Catholic.
Yeah, and that's our fundamental disagreement on this issue.
Who cares?
Is well,
I do not care. It's a separation of church and state. I give literally no shits about
when it comes to definitions. They're descriptive of things that exist. There is a covenant between a man and a woman. That is a thing that exists. There's no covenants between men and women?
Not necessarily in a social construct sense. Like, yes, it's something that exists in society, but it's not something
thing that exists in society is marriage. And so
yes,
a covenant that's not between a man and a woman needs a different label.
No.
Because now
that's not what marriage is in our society, right? It's not what you're trying to do is you're trying to appeal. I do agree that we label things that exist, and that's how definitions are given.
So what are we labeling the covenant between men and women?
Let me finish. When we're talking specifically about a social construct, that is something that only exists in society. So that thing is defined by society. It is not defined by its existence or this, and then we're labeling it. Marriage is quite literally what society says it is. So you can't say, well, marriage is this thing where a man and a woman are together, and then as a society, we call that marriage. No, it's a social construct. We made marriage. It does not exist absent our definition of it. So the definition is what society prescribes to it, which isn't what you're saying. Only the church does that.
We both agree there is such a thing as a covenant between a man and a woman. Correct. We both agree that's a thing that exists or can happen, a covenant between a man and a woman.
I would agree that the covenant, and I don't know if I would use that word, I would agree that it's between two people.
No, I'm not. I'm asking if there is a covenant, if there can be a covenant between man and a woman. One man, one woman, can they have a covenant together? Can that be a thing?
Yes, but what you're
saying. So that needs a label. And then a different thing is a man and a man have a covenant.
No.
But those aren't the same.
No, it doesn't. No, it
just
doesn't.
like my MacBook isn't my HP laptop.
Because like I just said, but they're both laptops, right? So there's
sure. So we're arguing about the word that we want to use.
No, a marriage is a covenant between two people. A man and a woman are people. You're trying to you're just like on semantics to be
you're just making a bigger circle,
and then woman and a woman needs one. Why?
Yes, because
what is the utility in that?
Because
why would we overcomplicate it and add an extra?
Because every facet of reality is individual. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes, the law of identity.
What is the utility?
The law of identity.
What is the utility
Logic.
of defining marriage and defining marriage as man and woman and not two people? What is the utility?
Like I said, you're arguing about marriage. Let's call it wearage and farriage. It doesn't matter what the words are.
Yes, I'm asking the utility in defining marriage as between man and woman and not between two people.
So we can distinguish between what we're talking about.
Why this definition and not this one is what I'm asking.
I am agreeing with
talking about.
Yes, I'm
You're
agreeing with
saying
you.
it has to be this. You're
No,
saying
no,
it has
no.
to be man and woman.
Listen, we are agreeing that it's an arbitrary label.
No,
Calling it.
no, 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 no,
You're
no, no.
not agreeing
And
with
no, no,
that?
we're not getting off of what I'm asking you. I need an answer to this. What is the utility in defining it as man and woman and not
I told
just
you
two people?
to distinguish between when it's two men
Yes.
or two
What
women.
utility does that serve in
So
distinguishing
I know what you're
between two
talking
men
about.
and two women?
So I can understand English. Like I
It's
don't
a
understand.
covenant between two people.
Yeah. So if you say
That would describe
if
that
you,
in easier terms, in more simple
but
terms.
I want to know what kind of people.
Then ask. Then ask.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So the
No.
utility is I don't. The utility
No, and
is
then when you have two different words, then you're
what?
allowing society where we could structure two different rights depending on what one you're in. Maybe a marriage, when it's man and woman, you get 10% off your taxes. But when it's marriage between two women, you only get
Marriage. I love
5%,
it.
right? And that's why when you're having two different,
Yes, but
there's
that's fine. That's
no,
how
it's
everything
not
else
fine.
works.
That
That's
would
how
be
the society
discrimination.
works. Yes,
No, society should
discrimination.
be structured in a way to limit discrimination at every way, shape, and form. This is why we change definitions, especially medically, scientifically, politically, to be more encompassing. That is why we do it as a society. And on an individual level, people push back on it because they're set in their way. But as a society, we evolve and we change things to be more encompassing because we think we've decided as a society we should be structured in a way that limits discrimination.
So, like for instance, if you're a man, your car insurance costs more than if you're a woman, assuming that you have the same driving record.
Right. But do
Because
you think that's because you're a man? Just
yes,
be like you think no, like and now you're and maybe I'm saying that not
maybe you mean that in a different way than I answering
yeah.
that.
Do you think it's literally this simple where they're just like from the beginning when they made the rule, I guess is what we got. When they made that, when they made it where men pay more, were they just like, we want men to pay more? Or
No, it was men suck
do you think that there is
and they're
some
reckless and they
do you
get
think
more
there is some
crash.
empirical reason behind it? You would
I
agree with that?
mean, yeah, it's based on data. Like they
Yeah.
saw
Okay.
driving records and they thought,
So then
and so,
tie
but
what you're
my point
saying,
is, we can do different
to an
rules for
empirical
different groups
reason.
of people. Is
What
the
is
only point I'm trying to make there.
what is the empirical utility in doing this? And tying marriage to men and women and not just people. What's the empirical utility? What's the
So
what
I
would you
know
say
what
the
you're
empirical
talking about. Like I don't understand. That's the
There's no
utility of
utility.
labels.
I know what you're talking about if you mean it's a covenant between two people. There's two people who are married. Why do I need to know if that is a man and a woman or a woman and a woman or a man and a man? That's what I'm asking you. What is the utility? Why do I need to know that?
Why do you need to know what? Why if people are married?
If
Or sorry,
if the married people are a man and a woman or a man and a man, why do I need to be told in the label in a way that specifies clearly that? Like, what is the benefit? What is the utility?
like I said, the benefit is so that you know who and what is being talked about, the subject of the sentence, the
Yes,
subject of the
yes,
conversation.
yes. And
It helps me out. Okay, now I know it's a man
just
and a
the
woman.
same.
I
You
know
know
it's
just
a
the same.
relationship
Why do you need to know that? Why
ordered
do you need to
towards
know if it's a man and a woman versus a man and a man?
because those are two different things.
How?
I because the law of identity, you and me are different things. Me and this hand are different things. This ring and this ring are everything is different. Every molecule is different from every other molecule. Nothing is the same. That's the law of identity. So every single thing gets its own identity. And so there's marriage, or sorry, there's a
no, and
covenant between a man and
that
a woman and
falls
a woman,
apart.
a
No,
kid
that
and a
falls
kid,
up
whatever.
that clearly falls apart on a sociological, biological
This
level.
is the
Law of
law of
identity.
logic.
Okay, then why doesn't everybody with a different genetic composition have their own gender category?
Well,
They would be their own
they
identity.
have
They're
their own
different.
name. They have their
What?
own name. Yeah,
No,
they have their own.
XXY can be
Excuse me.
considered either male or female, depending on their phenotypic traits, right? But genotypically, they're different. So, from what you're saying, law of identity, they would have to have their own thing. They don't. Same with
I'm saying
same
I
with
think
people who are
you're thinking it differently than
XXXY.
I meant it. What I'm saying is that person is not the next person. And you're not me, and I'm not my wife, and you're not your
Right,
girlfriend, and none of
right,
us are the same.
right.
We're all different.
None of that tracks with what we're
Well,
talking about
that's
giving
what I
rights.
was
When we're
that's what
talking
I
about
meant by
legal definitions that give rights to peoples,
and so
right?
I'm saying
Persons, sorry.
every every pairing together of people is a different kind of pairing of people.
No, no. And then even that, like, why are you stopping it at same-sex marriage then? Why don't we have a different thing for interracial marriage? Why don't we have a different thing if you're more than 10 years apart? If it's like at that point, you're arbitrarily drawing the line as
I
to
mean, we do. It's called
where you
interracial
want.
marriage. There's a word added.
Right, and it's called same-sex marriage. So you're cool with that. I'm glad we agree. If that's all you have to do.
Well, marriage is well, like I said, we're
So then
arguing
you're
about
fine with it being called same-sex marriage.
if we're defining marriage as a covenant between two people, yes, but then I would want a different word
No, no,
for
no, because you said interracial marriage.
yeah, because that's a descriptor of what kind of covenant between a man and a
Right.
woman. Well, an interracial covenant between a man and a woman, which sounds weird to put the
Right. So
interracial
then,
in front of
so
the covenant, I
what you're
guess. But
saying is you want your church definition. This is the disconnect. You want your church definition to be what is applied to a social construct, but the society in which created the construct does not define it as that, which is the problem you're experiencing. I do
well,
want to let
I
you, if
would
you have like a last
reject
thing,
that.
because like
But
we probably should
yeah,
go on.
yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
couldn't reject that. I mean, it's
No,
what
I mean
poll?
it would be a
What
whole
shows the majority
2 hour.
of Americans agree with your definition of marriage? Do you have any data to support that? Because I just Google it right now and pull up 10 polls that show the majority of Americans support same-sex marriage.
No, I mean I would reject the society created it, but that's a whole nother time. We
It
don't
it
have time
did.
for that.
It did. Can you name
So
anything?
yeah,
Can
my
you name wait,
last.
wait, wait, no, hold on. Now I have to ask
You
you.
asked me what my last thoughts
Yeah, yeah,
were.
I know, but then you said something absolutely ridiculous. Name anything outside of any society that's married.
Anything outside of any society that's married.
Yeah, what like deer wedding have you went to? What's what bear wedding have you went to? Like what gets married
Pretty
outside of
rude. You don't think bears have a society? Come
what
on,
gets
man.
what gets married outside of society?
Um, well, first off, I don't understand why that's the question. Because
Social constructs
just because something
definitionally.
is in society, I mean, once there's people, it's their society. So,
I don't know what you're talking about. A social
like,
construct only exists in society. So the society is
once
creating what it is.
if you have people, you have society.
Yes.
So, but that
Yes.
doesn't mean it's a social construct because a social construct means that we were like,
What is
let's
a
come
social
up with
construct?
this thing. Let's
What is a
make it.
social what do you think a social construct is?
It's something that the society invents itself.
Yes. So then if you
And
invent
so,
something, you are prescribing meaning to it, right?
not necessarily, but if you invent something, you invent. I
If
don't
you
really know what
invent
that
something,
question's.
you're not the one who says what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you
That's
are, but I'm not
you're
saying,
yeah,
yeah, but I'm
you're
not saying,
absolutely
but we didn't
defining what the
invent
thing is.
it.
What is inventing then
We
if you're not
didn't invent
defining
it
what a thing
though.
is?
But we
You're
didn't invent
defining
it.
what a new thing is.
But we didn't invent it.
Then who invented marriage? Society invented marriage. Yes, we did.
God.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Do you
And even if I'm gonna go with the atheist
yeah,
answer, evolution.
that's really
Then
stupid.
evolution.
Then
It's a what's the word you have a bunch of bricks and then an emergent property. Then if not God, but it's
that's
one of those two.
also really stupid. But I do want to let you do you have like a last
No, I
thing?
mean I'll just wrap up by saying
I did like cut you off, so
no. I was just gonna say yeah, I think like I said, my view is the Pope Francis view. I'm for same-sex civil unions. They can get tax breaks. They can get whatever. I don't really care about the legal stuff. The legal stuff is an afterthought for me in marriage. Marriage is marriage, and the state is the state. They try to get involved, but I don't really care about what the state does. So, yeah, I just think we need a term to delineate between different types of pairings. And that's my final piece on that. Let's talk about India.
we have to debate this because I have so many questions I want to ask. Yeah, so India trade, Trump's been hitting countries with tariffs. We all know that. India's one of them. He's hit them specifically now with another additional 25% of reciprocal tariffs because they're buying Russian oil. To me, it seems he doesn't want to like go at Putin directly. So he's like, I'll get your friend.
Roundabout way, yeah.
Yeah, this is scary with India because we get a lot of pharmaceuticals from them. We get a lot of other things as well, but pharmaceuticals for me is the big thing. Swall might have other things he's concerned about, but we get like I think they supply. I have it here. 40% of our pharmaceuticals, and then over 50% of the global vaccine demand come from India. So that's set to get a lot more expensive, like a 50% tariff. If somebody imports $1 million of drugs, that is, I should say medicine. That sounds very Colombian to say that. If they import $1 million of medicine, they pay $500,000 in tariffs. You could imagine what that will do to medicine costs. But Swal,
Right.
yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. It seems like this is just retaliation type of tariffs, I guess, is the point. And obviously, like you said, it's just gonna hurt ordinary people on the ground. Unfortunately, Trump's big tariffs plan has been an absolute disaster so far. So, yeah, I think a better solution would be to try to incentivize them to transition away from the Russian oil. Not sure what that looks like. I'm not a negotiator, so I don't really know. But I don't think we should just try to punish other nations. And I don't know. The whole thing to me sometimes just feels like playground fourth grade stuff a lot of times on the world stage, and it can be kind of sad to look at. But yeah, I think if we're trying to do strategic alliances, the best way to do it is with respect, not through tariffs and games and retaliation and all of that. So that's kind of where I come from on this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's part of like, and there's like this strategy or this thought in the world, political world, where you can kind of fight this geopolitical war without troops. You can do
Right.
through trade and, leveraging agreements and things like that. And I think that's what Trump's trying to get at. The problem is, for me, it seems like you have to be a lot more unilateral if you actually want to like get a country like Russia probably doesn't care that much about India buying.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to like really get at a country if you're going to do that, like get like multiple countries to sign into something and you're all
Right.
going to put sanctions on Russia or something. And for me, it just seems like Trump wants to do the bare minimum to say, well, I'm trying to get Putin to do what we want, but to never actually directly go at him.
Yeah, and kind of kick the can down the road to whoever
Yeah.
gets in next
And he's like,
office
well,
or next term, I guess.
I tried my best. I had meetings with Putin. I was
Putin
sanctioning
was
all the time.
unreasonable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's when you're matched with also like another thing is like just on the overarching Russia thing is if Trump's not going to be unified with Ukraine, doing things like tariffs aren't going to matter anyway. Like this
Right,
could work in conjunct with like being unified, right? But it's
right,
like
right,
on all fronts, it seems Trump doesn't know what he's doing. And with India specifically, it's like why? Why are we tariffing pharmaceuticals? Why do we want medicine to be more expensive? Like, if anything, maybe tariffs, but not on pharmaceuticals. Like, did we ever think like we don't
right,
have
right.
everything? Like, I just don't get the strategy here.
Yeah, and this is sort of a separate topic, but Trump talking about day one, I'm going to solve the. It's
Mhm.
like, do you think that he actually thought that, or like, why was he
I
like?
think that he at least thought that his base would believe him if he said that. That's what I think.
But like, then he knew that once he got in there, it wouldn't happen. So
Yeah,
it's like he either deluded himself into thinking that Putin liked him way more than
yeah, yeah,
he actually does,
yeah.
or I don't know. It's
I think
been
see that's funny you said that. I go back and forth on that, and I genuinely don't know because he said it so many times,
yeah.
so
It was like
confidently.
one of his main things this time around.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'll say like on my channel, it's like one of the things I've been the most wrong about was he was so confident about it. I was like, guys, I think he might do it. And
Yeah.
I think that like he has a deal with Putin behind the like there's
Right,
no
right.
way like
He's
I think
talking
he's gonna
like
do
this.
it and they have
Yeah.
like some deal. Like I'm like, there's no way, like there's no shot, but no, it just never happened. And I'm like, same as you. I'm like, why did you promise it so confidently so many times? Like it's not like
Yeah.
you just well, I just said it once, it was a one-off comment. Like
Right,
he
right.
said it like
No, every
over and over.
debate, like you could have backed down so many times.
It was
And yeah, all he's really got is tariffs.
yeah.
Wow.
He was
Real
drinking the
original.
he was drinking the Democrats bad Kool-Aid real bad, to just
I
say
guess
like
so.
it's all only bad because the Democrats are dumb and but did you have anything else you wanted to add on to the
No, let me double check here on my notes. Yeah, no, I don't have any other notes on there.
cool? I wanted to
Trump
make
sucks.
sure. Yeah, and the tariffs suck too for sure. So presidents, yeah, we don't if we end up doing this, maybe with other figures, with more presidents. However, if you guys like it, as always, let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll get a lot more structure, more form to it. We're kind of gonna right now, we both have bullet points to support our choices. We're gonna give our, what we maybe think are our strongest points, our best ones, and then we'll just spend the rest of the episode talking about it. Swall, like I said, I guess just for so people know, it was presidents of the 21st century,
Yep.
Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, and we're picking who we thought had the strongest presidency, who was the best. Swall chose Obama. I chose Biden. We're which quickly as the liberal, I'll take that as a win already. That conservative chose a Democratic president. But do you want to go first, Swall, or do you want me to lay mine out first?
Yeah, I can go first. So first, let me say the reason I chose is because if we had been in the 20th century or one of the other centuries, I would have had way more to choose from. But it's like war on terror and actual terror. Like, which do you want to pick?
Mhm.
So that's the only reason I landed on Obama. I'm not really an Obama
Yeah,
fan,
I was gonna
but
say then that just interesting. This might be interesting for people before you go
yeah.
in. Do you think he was a good president, or are you just saying he's the best of this bunch?
No, yeah, I think he was the best of the bit of the four, but four, right? Yeah, four. But
Mm.
I don't think he was a
But so
good
below
president
average,
overall.
really bad.
Although, I'm not. This isn't really going to be mentioned, but I will say, as far as like the image of the office, I
Mhm.
think he was pretty goated. I think he
That
was
I'll agree with. Yeah, best
very
speaker we've
well
ever had.
spoken. Yeah,
Yeah,
very well spoken. I wanted to have him over for dinner, type of guy. Like he just seemed like America's dad in a way, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Even when I was disagreeing with most of what he was doing, but
Mhm.
he did do some good things, which I'm about to talk about. So, yeah, like I said, definitely not a flawless president. But I think that he did a good job reining in the power of the office to some degree. He ended active combat in Iraq, which is good. Oh, excuse me. He did take out Osama bin Laden, which is one of the biggest things that he's known for his presidency, which I thought was dope. He got us through the 2008 crash. Um, and then he actually boosted a lot of faith-based and community programs, which I thought was great as well. And then he did a lot for prison reform and nonviolent inmates and stuff, showing compassion to them. And then, like I said, his image, he kind of just projected an inspiring leadership around on the world stage. His sense of humor, his class, it was just all around excellent. And so for those reasons, I think he's the best of the of some pretty rough presidents in this century. So yeah.
Okay, first off, you're not going to mention the Affordable Care Act. You're not going to mention the Iranian nuclear deal. Like these are like the two best things he did. You're coming into this with your biggest guns not drawn.
Well, I'm not a fan of the ACA, and obviously, I can't do like the gay marriage thing. Like a lot of his biggest things are things that I'm not
Yeah.
for. So
I would have, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I think the Iran nuclear deal might be the best thing he did.
yeah. I should have
Before I,
mentioned that one, but
yeah, before I jump in to my Biden stuff, I will say also, I agree with what you said about the image of Obama. Made me want to like him so much, and
so much.
I was a kid when he was president.
Yeah.
My mom really liked him, kind of just by virtue of being colored, and when I grew
Mhm.
up, I was literally like. I want him to be the best president ever, but the more I found out about Obama, the less I kind of like him, to be honest. Not terrible. I don't hate him though. But yeah, Biden, I don't know the way you're saying rough presidents. I think Biden was a good president, but I'm not like I don't think he's the best president. Like if I
Right.
like same with you, if I had like my choice, I've never voted for Biden in my life, and I wouldn't have chosen Biden if it was more than the 21st century. If
Wait, you didn't vote for Biden last time?
no, I voted for Marianne Williamson in the primary in
All
2020.
right, not last time. You know what I meant. I forgot
Um,
he wasn't really running last time.
yeah, and I didn't vote for him in the primary in 2020, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't vote in 2020. I voted Green in 2016. I voted for Jill Stein in my first ever
You
election.
didn't vote like as a statement, or you just didn't get
Yeah,
around?
I
Like,
didn't vote as a statement because I
okay.
was at that time I was a lot further left and I was
Yeah.
like really anti-Biden at the time.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like Biden's racist, Trump's racist, all of this. I
I
knew a
didn't
lot
vote in
less.
2020 either.
Yeah, see, I knew a lot less about politics also, so I like now
Yeah.
I would always vote probably. I think like no
Same.
matter what I would probably vote, but then yeah, I was like I'm just not going to vote. But yeah, also my just disclaimers before I get into it.
I
Um
love that we both have to be like,
yeah,
well, like, listen,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my disclaimers. I don't think like I do think Biden has a lot of like suspicious personal things he said in the past that don't agree with at all. October the 7th, anyone who I mean, you see my wall or you watched any of my videos, massively disagree with Biden on that. There's a lot of things you could go into, but what I do think is that he's the best of the 21st century. I don't really think it's close. I think he's a lot better than Obama, who would be my second. He oversaw oversaw lower unemployment than Obama. He oversaw record low unemployment at that. He saw almost an entire GDP percentage point greater in or percentage point greater in GDP growth than Obama. Obviously, he created more jobs. Both of them had the effect of bounce back lost jobs. So I thought it would be fair to even take both of their total numbers. In 8 years, Obama had 11 million and Biden did 14 million in 3 years. So like, and again, both of them had plenty of bounce back jobs. Even if you look at new jobs created, like towards the end of their terms, Biden had stronger monthly numbers. I think Biden was a lot better on foreign policy. He strengthened NATO in ways that Obama didn't. Obama was hesitant going into Syria after the chemical weapons attack. We all know about Obama and the drone strikes and the citizens and things like that. And I also think that Biden made the Affordable Care Act a lot better. So that's what I would lay out as my Biden position. I don't know exactly where to start. So Swath, there's somewhere you want it to go into, you could take it away.
Yeah, some things that I don't think are so great about Biden is like the 9.1% inflation in summer of 22. Obviously, that was horrible, and we felt it all over the board, especially middle class families. I thought
Sure.
his
Hold on, real
handling,
quickly.
yeah,
Would how much of that like you do understand that that was like on a global trend? Not much of
yeah,
it.
and obviously there was COVID, and I'm not saying it's completely his fault, but
I
as
don't think
it
it's really his fault at all because also like if you think of what causes inflation, a lot of it is spending, right? Like high spending with the lack of demand or revenue to keep up with it. And both the Fed and Trump outspent Biden on COVID relief.
Yeah, like I said, it would be for me more about handling and getting the inflation back down and doing what he can to
Which he did,
stimulate the economy. And
faster and
then
stronger than any other country.
on the border and stuff, I think that his handling the border was awful. Granted, I can't really talk with Obama so much on the border either. He also had kids in cages, so it's not all three, maybe all four. I don't really know
Well,
about Bush and the border, but I'd say all three of the most recent presidencies have had a bad time at the border. It's not been
okay.
good.
So then your problem with Biden is like the humanity of it, not the MAGA 20 million
No, no,
illegal.
no, no. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Humanitarian stuff.
Mhm.
Um, like I said,
Then
you
yeah,
can use that as a point against Obama too,
we're in
because
complete
he
agreement
also
then.
did that.
Yeah.
And then we got to talk about Afghanistan.
Yes.
Yikers. That was a
Yes.
bad withdrawal. I'm glad that we did
Whoa,
withdraw,
wait, hold on.
but the
Go
way
ahead.
it was done very poorly.
What do you think was
Uh,
poorly done about it?
I mean that them just like basically randomly one day, everyone getting out and them not taking all of their equipment. People, I think there's like pictures of people like running after the planes, like people getting left behind. Like it was messy. It was bad, ethically questionable on the grand stage of the world. Everyone was like, and so it was just bad all around, in my opinion.
So
Um,
yeah, I actually hold a completely different opinion than you. So
Interesting.
we could talk about this. I think
Yeah.
that was one of the better things that Biden did in his presidency. I think we were in Afghanistan way too long, that we had to get out. It was always going to be messy. It was 20 years that we were there. And then a lot of what I think gets under talked about when we talk about the Afghanistan withdrawal is actually a lot of the pretense leading up to it was signed by Donald Trump. The Doha agreement, the DOHA agreement is what set in motion that we would pull out. And that was agreed upon by Trump. And what Trump agreed to was to reduce our troops to 2,500. That is less than functioning for the machinery we had to defend. And he
Right.
left all of that machinery behind. So when he pulled our troops out to just 2,500, he left all the expensive weaponry and stuff. And he agreed to release 5,000 Taliban soldiers, including some that took part on the attack. In part of this agreement, Biden came in, and I mean, I think he was kind of given a shit end of the stick. And I'm sure there's things that obviously, when U.S. troops die, things could have been done differently, right?
Right. Right.
But I will die on the hill that Biden going through and getting troops out of there was the right thing to do. And I think the best way to paint that is in that withdrawal, less troops died than every other year that we had in Afghanistan, other than COVID. COVID's the only one. We only had 11 troops die in the COVID year. Every other year we've been in
Nobody went outside.
yeah, exactly. Every other year though in Afghanistan, we had more and like in the early years, it's like we're talking like hundreds, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
under Trump, we're seeing like 50, 60, 70 a year. So like I think it was the right decision, even if we lost some.
Like I said, no, I think everybody hopefully is in agreement that we needed to get the hell out of Afghanistan. I mean, 10 years. I mean, we shouldn't have been there, but
Obama should have done it. I'm just
uh,
saying.
like I said, I just think the execution, from what I remember, and maybe you would know better, um, there was there was like a few more gradual steps to get us out, and he just kind of was like, let's skip those like last three and just get them out now, and that's kind of what like threw everything into whoa.
Mhm. So
But
to
I
be
don't really remember the details very well. It was a couple years back now.
there was fighting happening on the ground. It was like conflicts were kind of happening, and there was like the question of, are we going to be able to get out if we wait until this date? Are we going to be able to get out? And Biden just said, you know
So
what?
there was another date though. I got
There
that part
was,
right.
I
That they
think we
were
put,
thinking about doing it a little bit later.
yes, but it wasn't like far. I think it was like,
Oh yeah,
I think we put out like a month early or
yeah.
something like that. But yeah, I do agree. But yeah, I would die on the hill that it was the right thing to do. I just think staying there would have been much more costly for lives.
And then here we're definitely going to disagree. Granted, again, the part about for me is that a lot of the stuff is just stuff that Obama may have also done, or at least done
Yeah.
set the seeds for. Like, and for I think in the cultural overreach, I think the enforcement of DEI and all of that stuff was just absolutely out of control during the Biden administration. And I'm glad that's one of the few things. Granted, I think it's low on the list,
So
but
what was
one of the few
something,
things I think is good about Trump's presidency is that he nixed that
do you
stuff.
have
But
any specifics about the DEI stuff that you thought was
well, yeah, I mean, I oppose DEI altogether. I think it's bad. So I don't think we should be,
right? Well, I
to
think my
use your
thing,
word, discriminating against people based on their race. So
sure, yeah, and my thing is like, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is I think when most people talk about DEI, they don't really know what it is. I'm just curious, like, is there any specific like DEI policy that you could even point to that you're like, this was bad, or is it just like the mysterious DEI that's evil?
yeah, I mean, I can't point to the name of a policy, but I would say anything that says
I wonder why.
this person black, therefore
Yeah.
anything like that, I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I think that if that policy existed, that everybody would know what that policy was. It's kind of the
I
point.
mean, it does. I mean, just look at the colleges. I mean, look at the
Sure,
what do you call those?
what's the college
What do you
policy?
call those? How do you get? What's it called when you get money?
I
I
don't
didn't.
know. I
No,
don't.
like yeah,
It's
like
way too vague.
to go to school.
Scholarship?
Yeah, yes, like
Yeah.
scholarships. Like
Mhm.
you got to be black, whatever age, this low income, yada yada yada, and then we'll give you such and such and such. I don't agree with that type of stuff. Or looking at
That's not okay. Hold on. First off,
looking,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, hold on. First off, because you're skipping a lot, right? You do like because we never really talked about I think racism or anything. You do acknowledge the discrimination with education that Black people face with things like redlining and such, right?
like redlining, like in the 70s, or you mean like right now?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean historically, not anymore.
Yeah,
Historically.
historically, I know about
Right.
redlining.
So when we're talking about scholarships, like there's not a your black scholarship. There's scholarships that are targeted
About
to
to be a your
address,
black scholarship.
yes, to address, well, to address those who are victims of redlining and those who are disproportionately have been discriminated on in education. It's not, hey, brown skin guy, here's your scholarship.
I don't know about that.
Mhm.
Let's see. Looking it up. We
And I also want to
got
point out too, is that that's not like a federal policy that wouldn't have anything to do with Joe Biden either.
yeah. What I meant was I said he let it run rampant under his administration. Like so, like Trump, for instance, he said no, colleges, whatever, businesses, you're not allowed to have DEI training programs, none of that stuff. We can't be doing this. Um, in my opinion, discrimination. Like if you're a black student attending HBCU, so okay, well, I'm not black, discriminated. Well, I am black, but if it was somebody else, so yes, there are definitely scholarships where a prerequisite is you must be black,
At an
and I don't think that's
HBC,
right.
at an HBCU, yes, a historically black college, because these are scholarships that are poised to target the discrimination and things, the disproportionate
That might be the
advantage,
target. I'm not disagreeing with you that that's the target. I'm
which
just
are a
saying
good thing,
that is in
which
fact
are a good,
discrimination based on race. Which, if I
no,
look up discrimination based on
no,
race, I'm going to find the word racism.
it's not
Um,
discrimination based on race. It's that would
so
be
white people can do it.
you can get scholarships. I
Can they
don't know
get
what
that
you're talking
scholarship?
about. That's what there's that's like saying that because a man can't go in a woman's bathroom, that's discrimination.
That is discrimination,
Okay, so then you're saying that not all discrimination is bad, then that you
which
agree
is
with
true.
use. Okay, well then I would agree, I guess. If you
Which
just
is
want to
true.
if you want to semantically say that's discrimination in the same way that a man can't go in a woman's bathroom, I would agree and say it's a good thing then, I guess.
Yeah, some discrimination is good and some discrimination is bad.
Right. And I think that in which targets the effects of racism is probably good.
And you're
Especially in a
free to hold
way,
that opinion.
especially in a way that doesn't actually disadvantage anyone, because white students can still get scholarships. And there's actually scholarships that are, and even just in the totality of scholarships, I did like a whole, I've done like interviews on this too. In the totality of scholarships, a lot of them are tilted or skewed in ways that lean towards white students. A lot of testing, there's been with how standardized testing is done, even can favor white students. There's a lot of like ways that these things go into that I think does need to be addressed. And I think
Yeah, and I mean, so
your
go
side,
ahead.
I just think your side does it, just not you specifically, but your side, conservatives, do a disservice acting like it doesn't exist and then pretending that the real discrimination is people trying to address the discrimination that Republicans pretend doesn't exist.
I think both exist, and I think both are bad. I just
Hmm.
would do away with
Why don't you like
if it was up to me. Sorry.
no, go on. I thought you were done.
Oh, if it was up to me, the word race would just never be used by anyone ever again. It's just a complete waste of life to me. It's complete
Yeah.
waste of humanity. I think it's a complete waste. It's a distraction. It to me. But granted, I have a very different upbringing. People, listeners, you probably don't know. I'm adopted by white people, so I already have like a transracial experience to where race just isn't something that ever mattered in my life. And so I think it's really weird when people care about what race they are. I just don't see any significance. I didn't choose my eye color. I didn't choose my hair color. I didn't choose to be 5'6". And so anything that you didn't choose has no relevancy because it has nothing to do with who you are as a person.
Yeah,
Your
and that's,
choices are who you are as a
I
person.
love that you
Quote
feel that
Superman.
way. I think it's an insanely juvenile way to think that the world would ever
Oh,
function.
it's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
I'm
I am
not
curious
dumb enough
though,
to think that. I
before
did
we
have one
end,
more anti-Biden thing, but go ahead and ask.
I was gonna say, why don't you like the ACA?
Well, you know my version of healthcare, so I don't like anything that's not just give us free healthcare for everybody. So,
You don't think that it was like a step in the right direction though?
I mean, I think a mixed system is worse. I'd rather go full or full in either direction. I'd rather everything be privatized so that we can have competitive pricing and all that
So
jazz,
you think the
or I'd
ACA was
rather
more,
have.
you think it was more bad than good?
I just yes, I think I've seen like I worked at a or I didn't work for him, but I had a buddy who was a receptionist for like a doctor, and them trying to get not customers, what do you call them, not clients, is that what you call them in the doctor field, I guess clients, to come in,
Patients?
yeah, and then they would get put on Obamacare and all of that, and then they couldn't go there anymore, even though they'd be lifelong patients because of it. But that's like more of a problem with the entire insurance
Sure, but like you understand, like
model.
before Obamacare, like patient protection was like a huge thing in Obamacare. People with pre-existing conditions could be denied. You could be denied private health insurance just because you have cancer and they thought that was too costly. Like Obamacare is
Yeah,
a big
it's
thing.
more of a, like I said, it's more of a I wanted. It's kind of like why you said you didn't vote for Biden. It's like this is not even close to what I want. I want something way more. So it's like I don't think this is. I think it was a. I didn't think it worked out as well as we would have hoped it would, and I think it was just a
I
waste when we could
agree.
have just done the right thing, which
Well, I
is
agree that it's not
make it free healthcare.
I agree that it's not free healthcare and it's not
So like you
inclusive.
said, discriminating against pre what you call them, pre
Pre-existing
existing
condition.
conditions, that's a moral abomination. Like, why is that even a thing? And like I said, why are we discriminating against anyone at all when it comes to healthcare? Like, we are America. We should just be making people feel. I don't know,
Sure, I
but
agree, but like, I mean, dude,
I see what you're saying. Where
with
you're
the
like, it's a step
Congress
in the
he
right
had, it's
direction.
not
I
with
get
yeah,
it. I get it.
with the
But
Congress he had at that point, he wasn't gonna get that passed. But yeah, what was your next
just
yeah.
my last thing was just that overall, I thought that with his administration, I mean, we saw the, if you want to call it a coup or whatever with Kamala and the weird. like the writing was on the wall. We were getting mixed messages from it. I just thought it was like a sloppy. At least the last year of his presidency was just like sloppy optically for the world stage. People, him falling off of his bike, him slurring his words, and blah blah blah. I just thought optically he was not the best compared to Obama. I think hopefully we would agree Obama's like the classier. If you had to be like, who is going to go represent you in a meeting, I probably want Obama.
Oh yeah, I think Obama's like the strongest speaker that we've ever
Yeah,
had.
so I think that was a problem for him as
I
well.
don't
But
think I think that in terms of optics, I mean I would agree it was probably bad on optics, but I think more of that has to do with Republicans like incessant framing of like trying to pretend that he had dementia because they couldn't really attack his legislative record or things like that. Like especially once he got like inflation down and they're trying to do the bipartisan border bill, they don't really have anything legislatively they can attack him on. So they're just like Biden old, Biden bad, and they're like hyper fixating on everything he did. Like in his last year, he negotiated the largest hostage swap since the Cold War. Like Biden did that. You know what I mean? That is something that if you have dementia, you're not sitting down with Putin and you're not saving multiple Americans and
yeah, I don't think he
negotiating
had dementia necessarily, but
20 to 30 people hostage, large hostage swaps, right? He passed bipartisan legislation. I don't know necessarily last year, but like the bipartisan, the Safer Communities Act, the bipartisan gun legislation he passed was after they had lost the House. So, like, in the most divided Congress we've ever had, he was able to negotiate with Republicans and get his agenda passed. So, like, to me, I've never, like, I've taken all of that with a grain of salt. Like, he was just an old guy that was old, but like, I've never thought of it as anything more than that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try to diagnose the dude. I just thought he was old and bumbling, and sometimes I did get a lot of laughs though. Like what are you talking about?
And my thing is like the same standards never held for Trump, who says even more insane shit, like genuinely more insane shit, and sounds more ridiculous when he talks. But for some reason, he's like young and spirited Trump, and Biden was like the old dementia guy. Yet
They're a
Trump
bunch of
literally verbatim said, "We won the American Revolution by controlling the airports." I'm sure we did, Trump. I'm sure we did.
no, no. You don't remember the Wright brothers?
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. They were pivotal to our the Battle of Manzikert. But yeah, no,
Um,
do you have anything else? I'm trying to think if there was I don't think
yeah, I
so.
don't know how to end the segment really. I
I'm
think
ending it by declaring my own victory.
okay, cool
Yeah.
enough.
No, I guess well, last thing I'll say is, and we don't have to go into it because you don't like the ACA, but I think that the ACA was one of the stronger things that Obama did, and I think that Biden made it a lot stronger than Obama's vision for it ever was, which I think is another knack for Biden. Let's both, I guess we can summarize why, and then we'll let the comments decide. For me, yeah, I just think Biden had better numbers from GDP to wages to unemployment to jobs. Biden has better numbers in less years. I think he was better on foreign policy. Obama was crazy with drone strikes. He even killed a US citizen with drone strikes, while Obama strengthened NATO to historic levels. Another thing we didn't really touch on, Joe Biden he did the largest student loan forgiveness and the largest investment in climate change. I just think legislatively in the numbers, there's not really a way that Obama can keep up with what Biden accomplished in half the time.
Obama was black. No, I'm kidding.
That's
No,
funny.
Obama led us out of the 2008 housing crisis. I think that was great. The markets bounced back up until, if you guys remember, was it? It was either like right during COVID or 2021 maybe, like when the houses were, I mean, it was insane. People were naming their children after the people who were selling houses. I mean, the housing market made an amazing recovery, so that was great. I think he was an awesome leader as far as just optically and talking and um, addressing the American people. It was the last time it felt like we had like a normal country. Uh, so that's huge. I think what he did for unviolent inmates and stuff and prison reforms and all of that was just awesome. As a Black American, that means a lot to me. I think that those types of crimes and jailing people, that's a whole nother thing, but I think it's insane. And then, of course, taking out Osama bin Laden, double tapping, that was pretty based. And let's see, what else did I have?
I cannot believe.
Oh, and him boosting the faith-based and community programs is also dope. Putting money into local stuff rather than just the federal bureaucracy. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I still cannot believe you came into this to defend Obama and you
I
didn't
know, and didn't
mention the
say.
Iranian nuclear deal.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I don't know why I didn't mention that one, but
That was like the one I was like, and that's funny that you didn't, because that was the one I was like, if you bring that up, I'm just gonna concede it like off
yeah,
top.
I don't know
I
why I
think
didn't
that's
bring
the
that
best
one
thing
up.
he did, you know. But
I
yeah,
was I was thinking in my head, and when I think of Obama, I think of all the stuff that I don't like. So
I
I
was
had
about
to
to say,
like
yeah.
think really hard of like, okay, what did I?
See, we need to. If I was thinking, if there's, I don't know if there's like another format this would work on, which we talk
Yeah,
more about it after the show. But I think there should be. We should have one to run it back where you have more choices that actually represent,
my
your
views.
side and
Yeah,
views. So
yeah.
we'll
If we
put
go
that out.
through 1900 to 99, I've got plenty of guys to that I would go
I would
with.
be
So
maybe down to do that. We could talk. We could do
yeah,
that next week.
not next week, but maybe
A
in
few
a
weeks
couple
down the
weeks.
line.
Yeah,
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, let us know, guys, who you thought was the best president in the 21st century. It doesn't have to be who we chose. If you, for some reason, thought George Bush was the best president,
Al Gore.
yeah, I'll only judge you a little bit, I promise. But yeah, let us know who you thought. And as always, we post these every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your preferred listening platform. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, add us to your playlist. We're here weekly, and until next time, peace.
Peace.